All right, welcome to the very first Indoor Environments Association webinar. Dawn, I will let you take it away.
All right, thank you, Peter. Well, welcome to IEA and NRPP 101. My name is Dawn Oggier. I'm the Manager of Market Development with Dawn. I currently serve as an IEA board member, bylaw chair, VP of the Florida chapter, and an OM&M committee member. I'm also certified as a radon measurement and radon mitigation specialist. Today, I'm going to share a few stories, and together we are going to explore the who, what, where, and how of IEA and NRPP. In early November 2019 in Denver, Colorado, I remember sitting all alone in the audience, watching, listening, trying to absorb everything I could at my very first ARST, now IEA, symposium. I had been in the industry since 2008, testing and mitigating radon and COCs in soil, water, and air in Florida. Well, Florida has their own radon credentialing program. We were not required to be certified by the NRPP or be an IEA member. Honestly, in 2019, I didn't truly understand what IEA or NRPP was. So this girl, attending her first symposium, was like a deer in headlights, seeing and learning all of this amazing stuff. That IEA symposium marked a pivotal moment in my career. In addition to everything I was learning, it was the first time I had the privilege to connect with fellow professionals who, like me, were tirelessly battling carcinogens day in and day out, year after year, saving lives. I left that conference with a smile on my face. My eyes were open to all the facets of our industry that existed outside of Florida that I had been missing all of these years. I am so thankful I made the effort to attend. I cannot convey the magnitude of benefits experienced at the annual IEA symposium that you don't want to miss. The easiest way to get connected to your industry is by attending the symposium. I know of one contractor that I introduced to another professional in a different state that resulted in over $20,000 of additional work for both of them before they left the symposium. This is just one of many examples of why we don't want to miss the opportunity every single year. Opportunities are like doors. We'll never know what lies on the other side if we don't make the choice to walk through. The good news is the IEA Symposium is held annually. Next year, we will be kicking up our heels in Fort Worth, Texas. Those who choose to attend the symposium have an opportunity to dive into groundbreaking discoveries from top experts, to stay ahead of the curve with the latest trends and innovations in radon and vapor intrusion, boost skills, and maintain certifications with specialized workshop and technical sessions. Learning has never been so rewarding. It's also an opportunity to meet industry leaders, policymakers, and fellow professionals. It's a time to expand connections, share insights, and collaborate on impactful projects. Check out cutting-edge technologies and products at the exhibitor showcase. Discover how the latest tools can enhance your work. Join discussions about important regulatory updates and policies that shape indoor environmental health. We have a chance to be a part of the conversation. To learn about community outreach and advocacy efforts aimed at raising awareness in underserved areas. To help drive change where it matters most. We have a chance to engage with experts from various industries like environmental health, engineering, and public health. Attending my first symposium fueled the passion I already had for the radon and vapor intrusion industry. So much so that I knew that I needed to get involved and help, but I didn't know how or where to start. So for the next few minutes, join me on a journey where we will explore getting involved and how it isn't just an option, it's a catalyst for transforming our ideas, into actions. I'm going to give you a brief rundown of our truly complex organization and show you how to grab a bull by the horns if you choose and begin building a legacy in our industry with members like you and me. We will thoroughly explore who is the Indoor Environments Association and delve into the composition of its boards, committees, councils, and more. We will learn what IE does to create sustainability and support its members. including where we can go to keep up to date with the happenings within our organization and discover all the amazing benefits IEA provides to its members. Finally, we will explore the pathways to getting involved with IEA. As members, we are the foundation of this organization. Before we begin, we need to clearly differentiate that the Indoor Environments Association, IEA, and the National Radon Proficiency Program, NRPP, are two distinct organizations with distinct or different missions, governances, and goals. IEA is a nonprofit professional membership organization, while NRPP is the credentialing arm of IEA. The Indoor Environments Association, it's a nonprofit professional organization of members who are dedicated to the highest standard of excellence and ethical performance of hazard identification and abatement of radon, chemical vapor intrusion, and other contaminants of concern in the built environment. The organization primarily aims to promote its members' interests by establishing industry standards, certifying technical expertise, advancing public policy, and communicating health risks to the public. As IEA members, we abide by a code of ethics that outlines principles and ethical conduct among our members. The main areas include 3 core codes. The first is relations with colleagues, clients, and others. This states that members must communicate honestly, prioritize safety and health, promote accurate information about radon and other soil gases, avoid harming others' reputations, and disclose conflict of interest. The second is technical professionalism. Members should adhere to our standards and laws, practice only within their areas of expertise, continually improve their skills, avoid plagiarism, and ensure that their products and services are safe. Finally, the third core code is business ethics. Members must act with integrity, protect confidential information, avoid unlawful activities, prevent discrimination and harassment, and ensure that their guests and family members behave professionally at IEA events. Violations of this code can result in disciplinary actions, including warnings, suspension, or even expulsion. NRPP is the credentialing arm of IEA. Its mission is to provide the benefits of radon testing and soil gas mitigation to the nation's homeowners and building owners through credentials, best practice standards, and quality assurance surveillance. The NRPP Certification Council governs certification. Staff at NRPP administer and maintain the operations of NRPP's credentials and implement the policies established by the NRPP Certification Council. It's important to point out that the NRPP is not governed by these folks, the Board of Directors, or the Executive Committee. Rather, by the Certification Council. They make completely independent decisions related to certification. Everything that touches certification has to go through the NRPP Certification Council for approval. All Certification Council members representing an industry segment are NRPP certified for the services provided by that segment. More specifically, the person representing laboratories should be the key individual for a laboratory. Measurement professionals must be NRPP certified for radon measurement. Home inspectors should be both certified home inspectors and NRPP certified radon measurement providers. Radon mitigators must be NRPP certified in mitigation. Radon educators must actively be providing NRPP approved radon courses. The Certification Council is seeking applicants for the following seats with terms starting November 1st, and that includes consumer interests, radon laboratory, radon equipment manufacturer, vapor intrusion, and certified states. If you are interested in providing governance and oversight of NRPP's certification programs, please review the qualifications and apply by completing the form that is attached to this page, and attach your resume or bio. IEA's Board of Directors has delegated authority for credentialing decisions to the NRPP Certification Council. The Certification Council establishes NRPP credentialing criteria, evaluates complaints, and sets decertification and reciprocity policies. The Certification Council develops NRPP credentialing policies that ensure impartiality and are free from conflicts of interest. Within our industry, they do a lot of the heavy lifting. The Council establishes requirements for obtaining and maintaining certification. They are responsible for ensuring that these requirements reflect what is necessary for competent practice to protect the health and well-being of consumers. They oversee the initial certification process, which includes requisite curriculum, required experience, and examination. They are also in charge of recertification activities and any intervals. The Council establishes and maintains the Code of Professional Conduct and sets the policies and procedures for granting and maintaining certification. Additionally, they ensure that the development, maintenance, administration, and scoring of NRPP exams align with best practices in certification and protect essential certification decisions from undue influence. Finally, they ensure that the disciplinary process is fair, it's unbiased, and that the complaints and appeals are handled in a timely manner. There comes a time in every business or organization where change may be necessary for growth. Sometimes an interval examination is needed to see if an organization continues to hit goals, or do we need to think where we are or where we're heading. Rebranding is oftentimes necessary to make sure that our goals are aligned for the future. So why did the American Association of Radon Scientists and Technologists, ARST, choose to change its name to Indoor Environments Association, or IEA? It was not an easy decision, with countless hours of discussions and input from the membership. Following this, leadership decided to expand the association's mission to ensure relevance and readiness in addressing various environmental challenges, particularly chemical vapor intrusion, CVI, alongside radon. The radon mitigation standard was renamed Soil Gas Mitigation to reflect this broader focus. Key reasons for this expansion include business opportunities. By diversifying into VI and other contaminants, IEA can leverage members' radon expertise, thereby increasing business prospects and reinforcing authority in indoor air quality. The rebranding decision considered what that means from a public health perspective. While the prevention of radon-induced lung cancer remains a priority, addressing a wider range of hazards allows IEA to enhance public health protection. The expansion allows to upkeep with emerging public policy. With growing government attention on indoor air quality, IEA aims to develop relevant credentials and standards to help members navigate new regulations. Finally, the decision to rebrand created sustainability. Rebranding as Indoor Environments Association helps attract new members and ensures that the organization's long-term viability and commitment to excellence. Overall, ARST, now IEA, rebranding creates additional avenues for growth as it strives to advance industry standards, certify proficiency, promote public policy, and communicate health risks effectively. Here's a great visual of IEA as a whole. There are 4 cornerstones or pillars that embody what our association represents: standards, proficiency, policy, and advocacy. Every communication, activity, and pathway within the association advances one or more of these pillars. Without all 4 pillars, our association would lack the strength to stand tall and achieve the goals of a sustainable organization. We as IEA members, alongside with the membership and chapters, are the bedrock that fortifies the very foundation upon which the success and impact of the IEA organization stands. The membership and chapters provide a stable foundation, ensuring that each pillar has what it needs to stand tall. We create and strengthen this foundation through continued involvement and support of IEA. IEA has specific goals that are established annually in a strategic plan. The IEA leadership, which includes the Executive Committee, Board of Directors, IEA, and NRPP staff, regularly review and update these objectives to identify which goals have been met, which are new, and which areas may need more effort or concentration. The strategic plan is typically reviewed during the yearly board retreat that takes place in the first quarter of each year. IEA goals are specific to the pillars of the organization. The first pillar is standards. IEA's goal and mission is to market standards to states, schools, and workplaces, enhance capacity for building stakeholder consensus, enhance capacity for publication improvements, develop new standards, adequately fund the consortium for maintenance and expansion, enhance supportive science and technical coordination efforts, and create a scope, plan, and timeline for each standard. Proficiency is the second pillar. IEA works toward creating and implementing additional certifications, submitting SGM CI certification for ISO 17024 accreditation by the ANAB. Accreditation is an independent third-party evaluation of conformity assessment body, a certifying body, against recognized standards, an indication that NRPP is competent to carry out its certification activities and provides a global benchmark for quality certification. The accreditation process establishes trust. NRPP's credentials are valid and reliable indicators of professional competence. ANAB is the ANSI National Accreditation Board, which accredits certification programs. Policy is the third pillar. Its initiatives encompass two levels, federal and state. On the federal level, we have federal-driven policies or initiatives such as increasing radon and CVI initiatives within HUD and FHFA policies, to increase funds for the state indoor radon grant, SURGE, and advocating for SURGE grants that allow states and tribes to receive funds from the EPA to help finance their radon risk reduction programs. We could easily talk for 20 minutes on this as it's quite complex. However, know this, IEA plays a key role in pushing this forward. We also aim to increase radon protections within ICC codes and other standards. The ICC, International Code Council, is the leading global source of model codes and standards. They deliver building safety solutions that include product evaluation, accreditation, technology, training, and certification. Additionally, we pursue CDC funding for state cancer control plans and working to achieve the adoption of the ANSI ARS standards in states. On the state level, IEA is working to secure state licensure through certification and compliance initiatives. This includes securing radon awareness or warning statements in real estate transactions, ensuring state enforcement of existing radon testing and mitigation requirements, and expanding state radon and CVI certification requirements to multifamily buildings, schools, child care facilities, hospitals, senior care facilities, and other workplaces. Additionally, IEA is working towards requiring radon testing of new buildings and increased radon protections within state and local codes. This is where members can really make a difference. Know your state policy, get involved in your local chapter, and be a part of guiding and shaping the future of your state. IEA advocacy goals for both the membership and chapters. We develop advocacy campaigns for implementation by chapters and nationwide, often enlisting a celebrity spokesperson. We also create effective media campaigns to publicize the Radon Report Card series. The foundation of IEA is membership and chapters. IEA supports membership volunteers on providing educational, scientific, charitable, and literary resources related to soil gases. They work together on developing plans to grow chapter and national membership, target and recruit state chapters for onboarding, conduct state-of-the-industry surveys, create leadership development training opportunities for members, and instituting the offering of providing free standards to members. The foundation of IEA for chapters is supporting the promotion of chapter growth, developing plans to include VI practitioners, supporting and staffing the Chapter Leadership Council, and conducting monthly meetings to build accountability between IEA and the chapters. IEA coordinates communications for chapter members that continuously promotes the benefits of being an IEA member and prioritizing new state chapter targets. All right, this is a general look of what the structure of IEA looks like on paper and how the different facets interact. We have organized the structural overview into 6 segments. They include the Stakeholder Leadership Council, IEA Leadership, Program Leadership, Chapter Council, Committees, and the ARS Foundation. We are always looking to add new faces to these committees, so please reach out to me or any member of the IEA team if you're interested in volunteering or would like additional information. At the center of the organizational structure overview is IEA Leadership, which encompasses the Executive Committee, Board of Directors, and IEA staff. This is our current Executive Committee. Dave Hill is our sitting president, and Kyle Hoylman is now the past president. The past president must stay on to provide guidance to the newly seated president to ensure continuity of leadership. For that same reason, we currently have 2 vice presidents, a secretary and treasurer. This group donates countless hours of their time for the benefit of IEA members. They are responsible for managing the executive director, approving the annual budget, and making recommendations to the board regarding the association's purpose, long-range plans, and operational effectiveness. IEA leadership also includes IEA staff and elected directors, also known as the board of directors. These are the individual members that members have elected to serve a 2-year term. Each year, 5 directors are elected in alternate years, again, to create the continuity of leadership. The organization is quite complex, and the board's primary responsibility is to deal with policy and empower staff and leaders to keep everything running smoothly. The board is comprised of industry leaders who bring diverse and unique perspectives. Next up is the Stakeholder Council leadership, which includes radon and vapor intrusion team. Teams support the formation of work groups and projects as appropriate and assist in the effective engagement of its industry members in the association in supporting work on standards, proficiency, government affairs, advocacy, the symposium, communications, and other areas. The VI team currently has 6 to 8 members. In addition to the Stakeholder Council leadership, there's program leadership, which includes the Certification Council and Standards Consortium. The consortium is accredited as an ANSI-approved standards developer. This is important because it establishes a consensus process to ensure openness, balance, and due process. We also have the ARS Foundation. Its singular mission is to advance lung cancer research. Then there's the Chapter Council. The Chapter Council consists of chapter presidents. 2 Chapter Council directors are elected from within the Chapter Council. The 2 Chapter Council directors elected serve on the Board of Directors. All right, here are the brave faces that have accepted the responsibility of being your current chapter presidents, who collectively comprise the Chapter Council. The Chapter Council works together, sharing lessons learned, successes, best practices, government affairs initiatives, and identifying needed resources. They hold monthly meetings. As mentioned, the Chapter Council elects 2 chapter presidents to become Chapter Council Director. Their purpose is to advance the growth, development, and sustainability of chapters. They provide chapters with representation to participate in the association's governance. The Chapter Council Directors have a seat on the board with full voting privileges. Here is a list of all the committees. Now, time does not permit us to talk about each one, but I want to list them on this slide so that we as members know we can apply to join a committee as vacancies arise. IEA is always in need of fresh perspectives, especially from those who are practicing. Here is a list of the chapters that include 31 states. Technically, there are 17 chapters, but currently the Southeast chapter is inactive. Efforts are being made to get this chapter back up and running. Of those 31 states, 20 have private certification and/or state license or certification requirements, along with the current measurement and mitigation standards that are in effect. The achievements of IEA and its chapters have been made possible by the ongoing support and dedication of its members. We have 17 states without chapters, which is great, right? However, that also means we have 17 more states that need chapters, so there is more work to do. Well, why are chapters so important? Well, let's take a look at what the chapters are doing and the impact they are having in their states. First up is Rocky Mountain IEA, also known as RMIEA. RMIEA and the Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment met with DORA, which is the Department of Regulatory Affairs, following the implementation of Colorado's licensing law. It was through the efforts of the RMIEA chapter that this law was passed. As a result, DORA has received fewer complaints than expected. RMIEA hosts a successful golf event each year, and RMIEA plans to support legislative efforts this upcoming year in Utah. Kentucky was affiliated in 2022. Kentucky is unique in that a board of radon safety was enacted through legislation also in 2022. The board has 5 voting members, 4 appointed by the chapter and 2 non-voting. They provide regulatory oversight not only for contractors but also for labs. They are responsible for the administration of surge funding, improving industry oversight, and instituting accountability for consumer protection. They are currently working on chapter engagement and elections. Kentucky has an active government affairs committee and are planning an advocacy day in 2025. The Maryland chapter was established in 2022. They are working on state regulation through certification, also known as RTC. They're collaborating with the Real Estate Commission to plan statewide radon testing law. They're working with the city of Gaithersburg to implement a rental law, and they're partnering with CERTI for discounted education for Maryland members. The New York chapter, they hold monthly meetings. They have 59 members. Chapter reps and the New York State Radon Task Force developed language to support state licensing through certification initiative. Radon through certification bill was introduced in May of 2024. It's to be reintroduced in January of 2025. New Jersey conducts monthly meetings. They're working on a training program for state code inspection officials. They co-sponsored an educational radon event earlier this year and are planning a conference for 2025. They have a government affairs committee that is working to prompt an update for the training of those code inspectors. The Heartland chapter is working on sponsors for the regulation through certification bill for next year's legislative session. They are regrouping Missouri's Radon Coalition support structure into smaller working groups to support the bill and other efforts for this upcoming year. The Pennsylvania chapter is working on a school testing bill with the Coalition of Allies. The bill, SB 1328, was introduced in early October by Senator Devlin Robinson. Co-sponsors are being sought for the bill's reintroduction in January. They are seeking to convince the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection to update the single family standards requirement. The Government Affairs Committee of the Indiana chapter is working on a radon notification and disclosure bill, similar to what's in place in Illinois, Minnesota, and elsewhere. The Government Affairs Committee met with the Speaker of the Indiana House and is reaching out to their legislators. On June 13th and 14th of 2024, the New England EPA Region 1 Radon Conference was hosted by the New England chapter. During this event, regional, state, and NRPP updates were provided. They provided updates on standards and an IEA national update. They held continuing education classes and handed out outstanding service awards to Pat Everett and Ed Beauregard for over 60 years of combined service. The North Star chapter rebooted in 2023. They surveyed radon professionals in Minnesota about their interest in chapter activities and priorities. They are supporting a testing build for childcare and daycare facilities. They are collaborating with the Minnesota Health Department to sponsor a Radon Day event. The Ohio chapter continues legislative efforts with the Ohio State House. They worked on the line item language for the budget correction bill and secured a sponsor for this line item. They're working with their lobbyists to create a health consortium. This is comprised of local, nonprofit, medical, and public advocacy groups. The purpose is to gauge like-minded groups to lobby together for health and safety initiatives that benefit the citizens of Ohio. The Midwest chapter hosted a listening session for radon mitigators, measurement professionals, and labs to give feedback on proposed rule changes. Due to their efforts, legislation was passed and the Illinois governor signed the Radon Tenant Bill, similar to the Buyers Awareness Act. This affected 3.5 million tenants in Illinois. The Midwest chapter obtained 28 legislative co-sponsors for House and Senate bills that will mandate school testing and mitigation. The bill will be reintroduced in January of 2025. They hosted a radon stakeholder conference this year in Chicago and are planning their next conference on March 7th, 2025. Florida is working with the Florida Department of Health Radon Program to push the adoption of the NCR standards. In June, the Tennessee chapter had a meeting with the Tennessee Senate Majority Leader staff, where the Legislative Council reviewed IEA language. They sent letters to all 133 state legislators regarding the Radon Through Certification, or RTC, initiative, and are continuing efforts to gain legislative support for it. The Virginia chapter was affiliated in April 2023. Chapter officers continue to meet to develop a plan for a bill to introduce in the next session in 2025. Chapter members are meeting with delegates on their own and raising funds for a lobbyist. The chapter is looking for more participation from chapter members and someone to chair the fundraising committee. They have drafted proposed changes to the Virginia statute update to include references to the NCR standards. The chapter is seeking to move radon regulation to the Virginia Department of Professional and Occupational Regulation, which is similar to the regulation of asbestos, lead-based paint, home inspectors, and more. The North Carolina chapter was approved as an affiliated chapter this September. They are busy performing outreach to members and held a chapter info and interest meeting on August 28th. On September 25th, members attended and testified at a regulatory hearing in Raleigh. Their goal is to enact regulation through certification legislation. The chapters have been able to accomplish so much that could not have been achieved on a national scale. Well, why is that? It's simple. As professionals and individuals, we are deeply invested not only in our country, but even more in our states and communities. We're in this industry because we care about saving lives and creating safer homes for our neighbors. As a result of chapter efforts, we have been able to achieve so much, such as radon notification and/or disclosure laws to buyers. In states such as Colorado and Illinois, they have been able to do this for tenants as well. Additionally, radon control systems, or radon new construction, is required in some capacity in 10 states. We need to do more work in this area, but this is an excellent start. 14 states have adopted radon testing in schools. This is still somewhat surprising because we're talking about children's lives, not to mention the potential liability that could exist. We need to push to get legislation passed that protects our children and reduces liability. The states in orange, yellow, purple, and gray have current or the potential for radon credentialing policies in the immediate future. Conversely, there are many states that are light green. The green-colored states do not have credentials. Chapters have made tremendous strides, but this map reminds us that we are not done yet. There is still more work to do. All but 2 states, Arkansas and Louisiana, have SURGE funding. SURGE funding stands for State and Tribal Indoor Radon Grants. It is a partnership between the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, and states, territories, and tribes to reduce the health risks of radon or soil gas exposure. The program has been running since 1988. States and tribes receive grants from the EPA, but first must also provide at least a 40% match of funds to be eligible. The grants are crucial in our industry as they are used to fund programs and projects that reduce soil gas exposure and soil gas related lung cancer. As we previewed over the last several slides, our membership and chapters are the foundation on which our entire organization is built and sustained. So if you are not already an IEA member, I encourage you to become one. With your membership, you automatically become a member of your local chapter. Get actively involved in your local chapter where you can raise awareness and achieve policy goals locally. All organizations need to have money to push policies and agendas at both the state and federal level. This is where the ARPC and the PAC or PAC comes in. The American Radon Policy Campaign supports federal and state level lobbying activities and is funded by a growing group of committed ARPC advertisers. All contributions to ARPC advertisers are tax-deductible business expenses. Then there is the Political Action Committee, also known as PAC, which was established by IEA. It helps elect like-minded political candidates and elevates our status as a policy advocate in the states and Washington, D.C. Both of these programs are pivotal to the growth of the radon and vapor intrusion industry. What does it mean to be an IEA member? It means we work for change. Changes in policy nationally and locally that protects families from exposure. It means we advocate across the U.S. and locally for change and create awareness. We aim to ensure that those who are measuring and mitigating all soil gases are certified and performing work to the highest standards. Being a member of IEA brings numerous benefits. These benefits include, but are not limited to, having access to standards, continuing education credits, discounts, and news publications. IEA members have free access to all ANSI R standards, including PDFs and flipbooks with extra features. All standards are available to members in the standards library. 10 standards, soon to be 11, are constantly being updated, and many of those standards have been updated recently in 2023. Another membership benefit is that IEA offers up to 8 hours of continuing education credit courses for free biannually to members. Members earn continuing education credits just for attending the annual IEA symposium. Members have access to NRPP approved education providers and courses. Periodically, IEA solicits members to offer educational courses like this one today. The cost to be an IE member is only $199 per year. That small investment nets you more than $906 in savings. This includes $750 on standards, $155 off your ticket to the annual symposium, and $200 in continuing education course credits. In addition to the $155 discount on the symposium for IEA members, we also receive discounts at Lowe's on insurance, branding, and corporate needs. IEA also offers a free job board. All of this can be found at arst.org. Another benefit of membership is that IEA publishes 2 publications. In both, you will find current content, including updates on states, products, standards, committees, and so much more. They do this through the Radon Reporter, which is published 3 times per year, and the Radon Biz, which is a monthly newsletter that is sent to your inbox. IEA is a complex organization that relies on its members and volunteers. There are numerous volunteer opportunities which can be found within the organization. The first step is, if you haven't done so already, is to join IEA. When you join, your membership includes membership into your local chapter. We need people who are focused, experienced, and dedicated to working on issues big and small. So our four pillars stand tall, providing our organization the stability it needs to accomplish all the current and future goals set by us, the members. Phew, that was a lot of information to unpack in a short window of time. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. If I don't know the answer, I know who will, or I can connect you with someone who can get those answers for you. Remember, alone we can do so little. Together we can create safer, healthier world for everyone. Thank you.
Don, this was wonderful. It gives so much clarity when you know that the IEA and NRPP do so many different things. This helps make it so much more clear. Do you have time for just a couple of quick questions that members may be asking?
Sure.
The first is in terms of getting involved, where would you recommend that somebody who's currently not involved, who maybe just became a member, where would you recommend that they start?
Well, the first thing is if they are already an IEA member, they need to reach out to their local chapter because on the local level is where I conveyed they can make the most amount of difference. Now, if they're interested in getting involved in other committees in different facets like that, on one of the slides, I provided a link where they can apply to be on those committees. They can see which vacancies exist and see if that's something that they can do. There's a lot of opportunities, and they could always ask someone like me or you or anybody at IEA, and we can get them, steered in the right direction, the one that makes the most sense for them.
Absolutely. That's great. And earlier in the presentation, you mentioned on your the very first symposium, it felt like deer in the headlights. I know I've certainly was there too, where it feels intimidating. Maybe you don't know a lot of people, or you just don't know what to expect.
Right.
What would you say to somebody who's maybe on the fence or is curious about it, in order so that they can both maybe feel more comfortable about what to expect and also how to make the most of it to make sure that they're walking away with the value that they're buying in their ticket.
I would just say go ahead and get that ticket and go. I've attended many conferences and I go to many conferences every year, and I can't tell you enough that the people at the IEA symposium, anybody you talk to, they are the largest group of some of the most amazing people that you'll ever meet. And you won't know that unless you attend. You could reach out to anybody, just say, hey, my name is so and introduce yourself, and just tell them it's your first time. I guarantee you they will help you. They'll take you under your wing. Because that's what happened to me. I heard a familiar voice that I'm used to talking to on the phone for many years. And I reached out to that person and I said, hey, I'm alone. I don't know anybody. And they're like, come on, I got you. And they allowed me to basically hang out with them all day. And they introduced me to everyone that they could possibly think of. And that meant so much to me. It just, I don't know why I didn't go all those years. You just don't realize what you're missing until you actually show up and go.
I feel like I hear that time and time again. Everybody, the, the first time they show up just seem to get so sucked right in and make friends so incredibly quickly. So that's really wonderful that was your first experience.
Yeah, it was.
Well, before we close today, and we'll certainly be sure to put your contact information below. Do you have any other closing thoughts?
Gosh, I have so many. This organization is incredible, and it has been a privilege to get involved. So just so many different levels that I have been able to get involved. Like I said, I didn't really know much, and we didn't have all the information that we have now. That's one of the important things that I've been trying to contribute is, helping people find easier ways to understand. It took me a while to kind of navigate and kind of understand, what everything is, what all these words or acronyms that we were using. It can be very overwhelming. But it's okay to say, you know what, I don't understand. And you can ask questions. You see my face on the screen. Ask me questions. I will tell you anything you want to know if I know it. And if I don't know it, I know how to get that information for you. So don't be nervous. Just show up and you will just be amazed at where this journey will take you.
That's so great. Well, thank you, Don, for your time today and for putting this together and helping our members or potential members explain and get involved. It's kind of you to do that. So thank you.
Thank you.